there we go. CEO of the largest cryptocurrency exchange pleads guilty to money laundering violations. CZ is his name, apparently, or his nickname. Understand that every time there's some type of cryptocurrency scandal, and, there have been some scandals. Can we admit there have been absolutely positively scandals? But every time there's some type of cryptocurrency scandal, that is going to be used by the anti-cryptocurrency people, in other words, the anti-freedom people, to crack down on cryptocurrency and what it stands for in the big picture. And we should definitely not have fraud in the cryptocurrency system. So I'm glad they're pursuing this, as well as they did with Sam Bankman-Fried. But in the big picture, notwithstanding the occasional or absolute fraud that we've seen from time to time in cryptocurrency and those issues, they're definitely bad, got to get cleaned up. But understand, leaders are going to be using that as a way to take away the ultimate freedom from fiat currency that Bitcoin and crypto represent. That is one of the biggest threats of our day, is that the government will actually usurp the technology and provide their own cryptocurrency, which they control, which is effectively the complete antithesis of Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin is trying to be a currency that nobody controls, right? This is kind of like a straight out of a Bond movie theme, effectively. So when we see this type of thing, you just got to wait till you cue people like Elizabeth Warren, because they're going to use every one of these scandals to move forward their agenda, which is to control cryptocurrency, and by basically controlling, basically going to crush it so that the government is the only one that has it. Peter St. Onge, my favorite economist on Twitter, every time voters are asked about central bank digital currency, by 85 to 90%, they oppose it. Yet, people like Elizabeth Warren keep pushing. Here is her video from a year ago where she tells you what's really her agenda relative to cryptocurrency.
What banks do wrong. If you think we could improve that in a digital world, the answer is sure you could. But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yeah. Yes. I think it's time for us to
so
move
essentially, because the thing is, when you look at every piece of paper currency we issue, not with coins, but every paper currency has its own identity.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, we're prepared for the blockchain now with currency. Should that be how we build this?
So I think of it as, again, what's the problem you're trying to solve? Mm-hmm. And if the problem you're trying to
Bitcoin is trying to solve her. She is the problem that Bitcoin is trying to solve.
Is fast, almost frictionless ability to send money across the country, do it rapidly, send it around the world, be able to send it to your cousins in Argentina.
That problem's already been solved by Bitcoin. Speed of transfer is really not the problem that's being solved anymore. That's been solved by the private sector.
If that's what you're trying to solve, a central bank digital currency does that. And
we already have done that.
You don't really need a stable coin for that. You've already got a dollar denominated. You don't really need a Bitcoin to be able to do that. So then the question becomes, so what is it that the Bitcoin, what problem is it solving for? And now we can...
The problem it's solving for is Elizabeth Warren. Like, scroll back up to Sam Lyman's tweet here. No, this interview is about a year old, by the way, to be fair. But it's relative to her recent legislation called the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act, which is basically would cripple Bitcoin in the United States. It's little more than an attempt to crack down on illicit finance. In reality, it's a nuclear warhead pointed at the crypto industry. Make no mistake, Warren's AML bill is the crypto killer. First, you've got to kill crypto so that she can come in with a central bank digital currency. once again, my favorite economist is going to explain why that's a bad idea.
Banks. But the thing that I really want to talk about today is central bank digital currencies. So the bank crisis is setting the stage for them to sneak in a centralized CBDC, which is a government run.
So he's talking about in March, where we had the mini banking crisis, and how the federal government was using that to try to sneak in a central bank digital currency. They'll use any crisis. The current crisis is now the scandal at the current crypto exchange. It's a mini banking. It's any scandal to advance this agenda
on cryptocurrency, and this could give them total control over your life, like China's totalitarian social credit system. A CBDC, sometimes they give it a cheerful name of digital dollar, is a type of cryptocurrency. It imitates Bitcoin, but this is a free house version of Bitcoin, which is run by the government. And it means that bureaucrats will be able to see everything you spend. They will be able to control everything you spend. They can fine you at will. They can stop you from buying a gun. They could force you to eat the bugs.
It's like Minority Report, but for every activity of your life, not just crime that you might commit, but buying a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, the government's going to know about it.
A CBDC can even make your money erode or even vanish. You have no control. They can centrally program this thing. They can zero in, look at you, and decide what they're going to do about your life savings. They can block you from...
Oh, Jack, that would never happen. Oh, well, just ask the Canadian truckers.
From exiting a bank that's going under. They can see and control everything you do, who you're transacting with, why you're doing it. In short, a CBDC is a totalitarian's wet dream. It is total social control. It gives us a Chinese-style system where you would be afraid to criticize the government. You would be afraid to go along with whatever the bureaucrats have decided you're going to do next. Now, for the past year in Washington, they've been pushing these CBDCs nonstop. I have been fighting them. We at Heritage have been fighting them. What's amazing is they push this crap when no voters want this. Left-wing voters.
So who does that remind you of? Something that the government controls everything. When the government controls every aspect of the money, not only can they devalue it, but they can take yours if you say the wrong thing, like up in Canada with the trucker. If you have diabetes, you can't go to Krispy Kreme. Think of it. It's like China, but even like worse, because who's in charge? Elizabeth Warren is in charge. It's 1984 through the money. It's absolutely positively disgusting. Another reason that people like Elizabeth Warren want a central bank digital currency and to get rid of Bitcoin and its cousins is because not only for the control on the big picture, which they would love, but they would also like to be able to continue to spend and devalue your money quicker than they are already doing, if that's even possible. Here's a chart from E.J. Antoni about our national debt. Elizabeth Warren loves inflation, and a central bank digital currency would allow her to deflate or to devalue the American dollar even faster than they're already doing. This is a chart of interest on the federal debt, now so immense that it's consuming 40% of all personal income tax. If federal finances continue on their current path, we are only a few years from the entirety of income tax revenue needed to finance the debt. Thank you, E.J. Antoni. I mean, the chart goes straight up. Elizabeth Warren loves that because she can tax us through inflation, and she'll be able to do that even more so with central bank digital currency. She is relentless in her pursuit, as well as many, many others. Fortunately, there have been some Republicans that have stood up and said, no, we're not going to do that. And here is a statement from July from the Chamber of Digital Commerce, talking about Elizabeth Warren's bill, the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This proposal aims to eradicate digital asset innovation in the United States. For those reasons, we strongly encourage all consumers interested in preserving and improving the health and viability of digital asset ecosystem to call their senators to oppose the bill. The legislation would classify certain industry participants, including individual miners, validators, and financial institutions, subject to the Bank Secrecy Act compliance regime, treating these entities commensurate with the largest banks, hedge funds, and money transmitters. It would weigh them down with unnecessary compliance, stifle innovation, hinder industry growth, and force activity offshore to jurisdictions with less adequate security and oversight. Effectively, it would kill Bitcoin and crypto innovation in the United States, which is exactly what Elizabeth Warren wants to do, so that she can ride in on a white horse and rescue the whole situation by having the government issue a central bank digital currency. Why do you need Bitcoin if a government can do it for you?